Hey guys, how about a little unboxing fun? First, before we get to the big box, something I already unboxed and have been playing around with. And these are both related. So I've been talking about setting up a home transmitter both for AM radio and TV broadcast. I'll be doing a really in-depth video. I've tried a few times over the years and I've had a number of issues. Especially at our new house, I've never gotten a satisfactory transmission set up using the usual blonder tongue dipole antenna kind of setup. So one of the things I wanted to try was to just really put out a strong signal to eliminate that as a potential source of problems. So I noticed there are a ton of these from different vendors on eBay. It's a 2.5 watt output wideband RF power amplifier from 1 megahertz to 1 gigahertz. RF in, RF out, 15 volts DC power supply. You can get them for, I've seen them for about between 20 bucks and 40 bucks. I bought this SMA to telescoping antenna separately, as well as a F connector to SMA. Be careful if you get these, they're rather cheaply made. When I went to put on this adapter, the SMA connector just twisted and broke off internally. They had not tightened down the nut on that. I've not tried using this yet. I don't have a 15 volt power supply handy, but I will. And yeah, this does exceed the legal limit. I would never leave this on and broadcast at full power. I would definitely be in violation on it, and I could get in some expensive trouble. I just want to see if when I do my setup, if it goes from looking crappy to looking really good. If I use a little bit more power, then at least I know them and what I need to work on. Alright, so what's in here? Well, I actually already bought one of these. So it should be another Tektronix. I think it was a model 1740, something like that. So I picked one up a few months back and did a video on it as I fumbled around figuring out how to use it, but I did get it to work, and I was very impressed with what it could do. But what I really wanted was a version of it that was rack mountable, because eventually I want to get all my transmitting stuff in a rack mount configuration. So this is a rack cabinet that can hold 2 of them, and it comes with another 1740, I think, that they said is dead. So let's see if that is the case, because a lot of times sellers don't even know what these are, let alone how to see if they're working properly. Here it is out of the box. It did a pretty good packing job, not a ding to be seen on it. I included a power cord. And here is the one I got a few months ago. So this is a 1740A. The earlier one I got was a 1750A. I think they have very similar functionalities. They sure look the same at first glance. And let's see if I pop off this cover, which is just held on by tension. This should slide right in. I hope. I think maybe this comes out. Yeah, it kind of looks like this is the shell of an old one. Still in here. Or something like that. I gotta examine it a little more closely. It's exactly the same size as this. It's not going to go in. Anyways, we'll take a look at that in a bit. First, let's see if this thing actually does anything. It's a nice rack. All aluminum. So my goal is in a rack space to have several video sources set up, some modulators, amplifiers, and this will help me to keep an eye on things. So I plan on feeding my signal sources into 2 of these, and then I can, well, monitor my broadcast, make sure that my signal source is working. So if say, for example, I'm working on a TV and I'm trying to receive my own broadcast and I'm not picking it up, I can check the monitor here and make sure that my signal source is actually active and putting out a good signal. Alright, it is plugged in. Let's see what happens. Turn on. Huh, I don't remember this thing having a fan. Maybe the other one, the fan didn't work or it wasn't very bright. Sure seems to have some life to it. I'll have to feed a signal source into it. I remember this thing being incredibly confusing on how it actually works. So it's waveform, vector, both. Trying to get to the menu where you can actually focus. There we go. Oh, but the control. Oh, well, there's the scale intensity. Oh, the intensity and focus don't seem to be doing anything. Vertical position, horizontal position, yeah. Oh, that's probably just scale intensity. Never mind. I'm just being stupid. But yeah, focus. I remember the focus on the other one is pretty bad too, and the control doesn't do a whole lot. If this focus is doing anything, it's very subtle. I mean, it's okay. It's perfectly readable. Well, let us hook up a signal source. But aside from it being a very noisy fan, it sure seems to me like this is working. Dug through my box of adapters and got something so I could go from RCA to F on an over-the-air converter box to feed into this guy. Let's see, I think I'm using A1. Ooh, that looks like something. Oh yes. This works better than the other one too. The other one has some screen burn. Also, notice if I drop the intensity, the focus gets even better. Very pretty. Let's see. Do the vector at the same time. It's that thing in the middle. So yeah, it does appear this is working. Let's see, gain. Let's do some variable gain. There we go. It's actually very easy. There's just so many buttons on here. I couldn't see it right in front of me. I simply switch over to picture mode, and there we go. And let's get it centered and over a bit. And I think we've got a little bit too much brightness. Yeah. So if you don't mind green, you can watch TV. Excellent. This thing is working flawlessly as near as I can tell. Very happy. Well, I quickly realized that this is part of the rack, so that's not going anywhere. What we have to do is take this unit out of this enclosure and slide it into this one. It looks like there are just a couple Phillips screws on the back, which means we get to look inside and see what's going on in here. I guess they weren't exactly Phillips screws, more like some kind of star bit, but I got them out. Then there was a little bit of drama because there's kind of adhesive foam around the back, a little bit of force, and the whole unit slid out. So we can see what's going on. So of course we have a CRT, and here's a high voltage supply for it, and probably a power supply for the whole device up here. Switch mode. Get some idea when this was made, if we can find a date code somewhere. Oh, I know there's a bunch of chips on the other side. We'll look at those. Board on the back. Let's see, 0217 for a date code, so 2002. I think that those are switches to control what input you're going to be taking a look at. Fun stuff is on the side. Wow. We've got some Xilinx FPGAs, some Cypress fast RAM probably, some flash RAM, processor 68332, Motorola, whole bunch of glue logic, all HCT series, 74 HCT series, high-speed CMOS. Got some Maxim chips, probably doing some video of some sort. Been a while since I worked with stuff like this. Memory's a little fuzzy. Very cool, and something I wouldn't even dream of trying to fix. I mean, it's a good thing to know that I'm sure this cost quite a bit when they were new, but now they're practically sold for scrap value. I don't see any bulging caps. And I mean, really, 2002, it's fairly new. We keep our fingers crossed that this keeps running for a long time. So that is a static RAM memory chip with an integral battery. There's a configuration on this, and you get such stuff to calibrate it and whatnot. And if that battery dies, you lose your settings. Not so easy to deal with. Oop, hang on. I missed one side. More fun stuff going on here with two very complicated looking boards. Looks like we got a marriage of digital and analog going on here. Honestly, I don't really recognize these chips too well, except maybe some 10K ECL stuff. Only in my memory because I looked at a frequency counter recently. MC10116, MC10107, LF398. I was pretty sure those are like FET input dual op amps. Thinking some Maxim stuff, some crystals, custom program chip there. Maybe this is like some PLL stuff going on in there, phase lock loop. We've got crystals, and we've got trimmer caps, and we've got mica capacitors all over the place. Man, this thing is a lot more complicated inside than I expected. Alright, everything seems to be working perfectly. It's certainly good enough for my purposes. I'm a very happy camper right now. Eventually, I'd like to have two different signal sources, whether it's two over-the-air converter boxes set to different channels, or a streaming service and whatnot, and then transmit on two different channels. That way, with my vintage sets, I can go over and actually change the channels and watch different content. And ideally, I'd like to do it over the air. rather than running coax cables to all my vintage sets. I also want to be able to test sets on the workbench without having to hook them up to something like I've been doing most of the time. Thanks for watching.